Okay, good evening, everyone. Okay, so hope all of y'all are doing good, right? Okay, we will start with some grammar practice and then we will move into our literature revision and so on, all right? Okay, very good. All right, class, you have to respond, all right? So that I understand whether you able to view or you are hearing, listening to it properly and all that. If possible, try to give your answer. If you are shy, you can even private chat. All right, you can choose not to everyone, only to me, to the teacher. Okay, if it's good, we can share it with everyone. All right, shouldn't be a problem. Even if it's wrong, it's good enough for you to try. Okay, I want to see more people participate in this lesson. As we, I think we have um, I think this is our ninth lesson, ninth week together, right? So no more shy and all that. Okay, let's look at the first correction. And student, please stop using or scribbling um, on my screen. All right. Okay. Okay, this is a sentence correction. I just wanted to start with some grammar before we move on into something more serious. Okay, let's look at what you have to do. Okay, the direction is correct the errors in the following sentences. One sentences does not have any error. Okay, it could be like with or without, right? But the answer is already there. I have given you the worksheet with the answer because we're just going to identify what is the problem, what is the solution for the question, right? Okay, let's look at number one. He gonna let me have more water. All right, the word gonna, it's very popular among Form 5 students. Form 3, as far as I have been marking for past 4 5 years, I have no problem, no issue with my PT3 student. But most of my problems that I rectify is with my SPM. They love to use all these fancy words, all right? So you cannot use the short form or the this is considered abbreviation, but it's not a formal which is accepted in our English lesson. All right. Okay. So let's look at the correction. Okay. The question say he gonna let me have more water? Question mark. So meaning it's a question, right? So the you have to add, you have to correct it. Is he going to let me have more water? Okay. So the word is should be in front and the gonna it's another mistake, it's going, right? Please remember, you shouldn't use gonna in your essay. Okay, number two, they work have to be done by Monday. All right, so this is a normal sentence, it's not a question. Okay, so the work, it's one. All right, so the form, the singular, it should be in a singular form, has to be done by Monday. Monday, it's a, what is Monday regard as? Why is it capitalized? Anyone can tell why is Monday capitalized? Yes, it's a day, but why is it capitalized? Yes, kata nama khas. It's a proper noun, alright? Common noun kata nama am, proper noun is kata nama khas in English, right? So months and days should be capitalized, the first word. Alright. The car and truck is in the backyard. So the article and is not suitable here. It's supposed to replace with a conjunction. Okay, so the and here and the word car and truck is two items, so it should be plural. Ah, all right. So the correction here is the car and truck in the backyard. All right. I think this is quite simple, right? We will go it very quickly. That's why I didn't want to ask question. I just wanted to explain why. Okay. Yesterday, after the party, we went home. So this sentence is actually correct because yesterday it started with a capital letter because it's a first word. Then there's a comma. After the party, we went home. There's a full stop. So the punctuation and the words were spelled correctly. Okay. So number five, the cake has eggs, flour, and milk in it. All right. So it has three. Basically, it has three ingredients. All right. So the two ingredients should have comma, which is your correct punctuation. So the cake has eggs, comma, flour, comma, and milk in it. All right. There should be a comma in front of the end. Okay. And the last one, we are going to their house. All right. So maybe they are trying to convey they are going to someone's house. All right. So you can also make it we are going to their house. Okay. So can you understand? If let's say this is actually your guideline for your essay, how do you write and how if let's say they give you a note, a short notes, okay, how are you going to put your words and write it properly? All right. So do you have any question for your grammar? So far, all okay? Okay, very good. Okay, then I think we should move on to our literature part. Today, as I promised, I'm going to do a very small revision on poem, our Form 5 poem, which is What Has Happened to Lulu and A Poison Tree. We're just going to recap that because I find that there are a lot of new students coming in. Okay, so but we're not going to do a detailed learning, right? And class, I have uploaded all your current lesson until lesson 7 or 8, if not seven, I think, if not mistaken, in your Google Classroom. Okay, but for the Captain Nobody and another novel, the if not mistaken, Sing to the Down or something, right? That I'm still compiling because I have to do a thorough reading before I'm sharing a note with you. For my note, usually I'll be doing by myself, right? So I have to compile everything. Once I've compiled the synopsis, the characters, and a few of the past year questions, then I'll post it. Maybe like you have to give me another 2 weeks time. Okay, I promise that I'll be doing it before your trial. Your trial is on October, if not mistaken, because it's standardized whole Malaysia. So I'll be doing it that in that way. And then yes, Chia, you have finished with your school test, but apparently our trial will be starting next month. It's on October, right? So you shouldn't worry. And yeah, this is my extra effort for you guys because I have been teaching Mr. Kilmer for the past 5 years, right? But I understand that we have students from um different city, I mean, state as well. So we have to help them as so I'm compiling the notes. Okay. Uh, okay. Let's look at your literature. Yeah, it's supposed to be on October because my school is also on October. The trial is standardized actually, or it could be like 1 or 2 weeks later here and there. Okay, even though we were not sharing any papers. Okay, later what we can do, maybe we can compile all the papers and we can go through together. Right? Okay, now let's look at your literature. The first poem will be What Has Happened to Lulu? All right. I think you're able to see, right? Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay, so let's look at the first stanza. The first stanza, it is about questioning. Okay, the persona is the little brother or the little sister for Lulu. Okay, and he or she is actually confused. All right, confused on what happened to his sister. Okay, what has happened to Lulu? What has happened to Lulu? You can see that the persona is asking the mother the same question because he or she doesn't know about the whereabouts of his or her sister. Then there's nothing in her bed and but an old rag doll and by its side a shoe. Okay, so there's only one side of shoe and there's an old rag doll, which means it shows that Lulu doesn't need the doll anymore. She's a grown up girl now, right? So nothing else was left, only the doll and the shoe, which suggests that the sister may be in hurry, right? So she forgot to bring her shoe together with her. The second stanza says that why is the window white, mother, the curtain flapping free, and only a circle on the dusty shelf where her money box used to be. Okay, um, this is where the question about her freedom. The window wide open is first thing she ran through the window, all right? Maybe she escaped through the window. Second, the flapping free symbolizes her new freedom, her new life, and her new it's symbolizes her new life has begun. All right, just how the curtain is flapping free and a circle on the dusty shelf, meaning she has taken her money box, so it just left a dust on her shelf, all right? So it was dusty. So she has took her money box with her. In the third stanza, the persona asks, "Why do you turn your head, mother, and why do teardrops fall? And why do you crumple that note on the fire and say it is nothing at all?" Okay, so probably the mother realized the child has run away, and she start crying. Okay, when she start crying, um, in the same time she doesn't want the little child to realize that she's crying, right? Because the child might be still doesn't understand what is going on, very sensitive, the kids are very gentle, they easily broken, right? So she doesn't want to tell anything to the little child, so she quickly crumpled the note on the fire, right? Okay, and says that it was nothing at all, right? So she said she denied. She denied means she didn't tell what happened actually. Um, in the fourth stanza, I woke to voices late last night. I heard an engine roar. Why do you tell me things I heard? Were dream and nothing more. All right. So the persona start not believing to the mother. Okay. The first evidence was the voices that he woke to the last night. All right. The car, exactly. Tang Chi's one. The car sound, the engine roar, probably the engine. The louder engine, it could be car compared to the motorbike, right? So maybe she woke up to the voice and then she told the mother, okay, this thing happened, and and the mother say, no, no, you were dreaming. So she tried to deny everything, right? But do you think the child believed? The child start having a suspicious question and everything in her mind. Okay. Stanza 5, I heard somebody cry mother in anger or in pain. Okay, in anger, when you're crying in anger or in pain, like you tahan dan you menangis kan. Okay, so that kind of crying. But now I ask you why mother, you say it was gust of rain. Probably it could be the mother, or it could be the sister who cried earlier, right? Previously, it wasn't very clear here, but it suggests that the mother feel a very sense of guilt. Okay, um, and then she said it was gust of rain. She doesn't want to tell what happened actually, right? And the last line in stanza 6, why do you wonder about as though you don't know what to do? What has happened to Lulu, mother? What has happened to Lu? So Lu is probably a nickname called in her house. Okay, she I mean, the little child doesn't know that why the mother is moving aimlessly. Like she's wondering, she's like in a dream in her own world, and she don't know what to do next. All right. Imagine she lost a child. She's so panicked. Okay, panic, and then she's thinking what has happened. Why did she? A lot of question is going in her mind, and this little child is actually observing the mother. The mother's answer was not clear. She didn't believe, and then the mother is acting very weird, right? She's moving around aimlessly, and she doesn't know what to be done, okay, what to do. So the poem ends the question with a child repeating the same question: what has happened to Lulu, mother? What has happened to Lu? All right, yes, the little child is the persona. If let's say you wanted to uh, give like you want to confirm whether it's a boy or it's a girl, shouldn't be a problem. You can even use his, or him or her in the question, right? Okay, what do you think the theme in this poem? Let me ask you a few questions. What do you think the theme in this poem? What is it? Yeah, the theme is about family relationship. Okay, first will be the family relationship. Uh, they Do you think they have a good relationship? They might have. They don't have a good relationship. They had a complexity of family relationship. Okay, although it was not directly mentioned in the poem, but that was the problem. One of the problem that caused Lulu to run away, right? And it wasn't mentioned why did she run away and all that, but we know when somebody is running away from home, so the problem is starting from the home, not from outside, right? So the family relationship uh, that happened in the family made Lulu to decide to run away from home, right? So that would be the evidence. Next, you could also say about the love, the love between the siblings, all right? The child and the Lulu and the persona is, you can see it is, the child seems to be very concerned about the sister. Okay, she was, this shows his love or her love towards the sister. It was throughout the poem, right? She was keep asking what happened to the sister. She was questioning the mother, right? And then what else? You can also talk about the loss or grief. Okay, when you can refer to the paragraph stanza 5 and stanza 6. The mother cries, the mother was in pain, and then even in stanza 3 her tear drops, and then she denied to the little child, saying that nothing happened, but whether she was in deep pain, right? Imagine losing a child and she's still young. Okay, how was the uh, heartbroken, how heartbroken the family will be. So the theme will be about loss and grief. It can also be about love. It can also be about family relationship, the complex relationship in the family. So when you write, if let's say they ask you about the moral value, you just have to describe that. We must love our parents, or we should always try to think and behave rationally. So we shouldn't run away from the problem. You know, when you add the word models, the should, we must be able, we should, we must, and all that, so it becomes the moral value. Okay, let's look at the real question now. Okay, so I have like 11 questions for you. Okay, I want you to give me the answer. Okay, look at number one. What will be your answer for number one? Exactly. To whom is the question in the title directed to? To the mother. All right, very good. Number two, where are the mother and the persona? They are at home. You can say that they are in Lulu's house, or they are at home, right? Because it's everyone's house. Okay, very good. Number three, what does Lulu take with her? Lulu take her money box, right? Okay, so yeah, she took her money box with her. Number four, how does Lulu leave the house, and why do you say so? I mean, how she leaves the house, with what, and what is your evidence? No, it's not about how she went out from the house. If they ask how she went out from the house, yes, she escaped through the curtain. I mean the window, right? But they are asking her, how does Lulu leave the house? Meaning by car. All right. Why do you say so? Because the persona heard the engine roar late last night. All right. So Chia, your answer is correct. Very good. Tang Chi-Zuan, he said that he privately texted me. He said Lulu left from the house because she take all the money from the money box to spend with her boyfriend. Okay, but where is the answer for question number four? All right, y'all are creative, you know, but use it wisely. I mean, the answer is not there at all. Okay, so number four is basically how she leaves the house. She leaves by car. And why do you say so? Because the persona heard the engine roar late last night. Alright? Okay, number five. What does the mother do with the note? Yes, crumple it and crumple the note and put it in the fire. Very good, Nkayan. Okay, number six. Do you think the child has a close relationship with Lulu? Support your answer from with evidence. Okay, yes, comma. So what is your evidence? What makes you to tell that the persona is very close to the sister? Exactly. Your answer is almost accurate, Chia. She is concerned about persona, or yeah, keep asking about what has happened to Lulu. Okay. So the answer is yes, because the persona seems to be very concerned with Lulu's disappearance. Okay, number seven. How do you think the mothers feel about the incident, and why do you say so? How do you think the mothers feel about the incident, and why do you say so? Exactly, heartbroken. Okay, heartbroken. She's upset. The evidence is the child sees her crying. Okay, when she said it's a gust of rain, it's actually she was crying, and then she turns her head. The tears was dropping. So your answer can be upset, sad, stressed, depressed. No, depression is totally different. Emotionally down. Okay, all the adjective can be used, and okay, use it wisely. And then why? The evidence you have to provide. This is quite a common question in your SPM. All right. Okay. Number eight. What does the child hear late last night? Yes, the engine roar. All right. Okay. Number nine. What do you think caused Lulu to leave the house? Why do you say so? This is a hot question. Usually they can ask you this kind of question and ask you to give your suggestions, or you know what you think about it. Why do you think she left the house? She has conflict with her mother. Okay, maybe you can add on. She had a conflict last night, because she normally, when we are sad, we will run. If they feel they want to run away, they had an argument, they had a fight, they would have just run away immediately, right? So you have to mention that she most probably had an argument with her mother. Okay, because the child heard the loud voice. Okay, why do you say so? It's because the child heard the loud voice, so she left the house. Stress of learning what? This is not about school. It's about the family problem, the conflict in her family. All right. Okay, what is the tone of the poem? When you read the tone, the poem, what do you understand from the poem? Exactly, confused. You until now you don't know what has happened to Lulu. The word what has happened to Lulu, it's a question, it's puzzle. All right. So the tone of the poem is actually not sad or not angry. All right. It's puzzle, it's confused, and also concern. Concern. Why concern? Because of the little child. He or she is very concerned about the sibling. Okay, the last one. All right. Okay, y'all are doing very good. Okay, so I think y'all can get a poison. I mean, what has happened to Lulu is coming out. All right, number 11. State two moral values you have learned from the poem. Two moral values. We should love our family. Very good. We must not leave the home because it is not a solution. We should appreciate our parents' love and care. Exactly. It's about family love. All right. Very good. Okay. And then you can also say that good communication between family members is important. Okay. Because without good communication, nothing helps. All right. Yes. Confident has answered the same thing. What else you have? We should always think and behave rationally. Rational thinking is very important. Do you think Lulu has run away and her problem has solved? No, all right? Um, so, yeah, Chizwan has said, realize running away is not a solution. Yes, it is not a solution. Okay, so you have all the answers here. We should share our problem with our family. Very good. Haziq, Haziq, you are back. Welcome back after so long. Or maybe you were just quiet, right? I didn't realize. Okay, we should share our problem with our family is very similar to you should communicate. Okay, when you communicate, you can share problem, you can tell your problem, right? So, okay, that's all for your question. What has happened to Lulu? Shall we move on? Are you all okay? All right. Okay, let's look at poison free. Okay, if there's no question for your what has happened to your Lulu, then we will move on to uh, what is this? Poison free. Can you see? Yeah, make it smaller a bit, right? All right. Okay. For poison free, it's totally a different theme, different context. All right. This one is more about revenge and anger, stress, and all that. Okay, the first, it only consists of four stanza, a very short poem actually. The word poison tree, you can see it is some sort of very negative poem. The word poison. When you read something, when you look at the sentence, you can understand whether it's a motivational or it's a is it a question mark or is it a totally negative. So this one is more about negative, right? So the first stanza say, "I was angry with my friend. I told my rat did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not, my rat did grow." Very simple. The first paragraph, it means that he was very angry with the friend, right? When he talked, he solved the problem. Whereas when he was angry with the foe, which is the enemy, he did not talk. Dia buat bodoh je lah. He diam. Alright. When he diam, what happened? The anger grew. All right. Okay. And then what happened? The friend story chapter has been closed. Now it's all about the enemy and the persona. In the second stanza, and I watered in fears, night and morning with my tears, and I sun it with smile and with soft deceitful while. All right. So the persona described how he nurtured his anger until the thing grow. All right. It's like he's growing a plant. What a plant need? A water, a sun for the photosynthesis. All right, to get its own food. That's what he did in stanza 2, if you can say. Because of his watering and his sunning it with a smile, he's actually putting a trick, all right, so that the enemy would believe he's a nice guy. But the truth is he's having the revenge in himself, right? The anger is still growing and growing day, both and night, right? Okay, so in stanza 2 it's on how he grew his anger. The water was the source of his fears and tears, and then it's like a real plant. He's taking care of the plant, right? Okay, the third stanza. and it grow both day and night. Yeah, he's pouring he's pouring water and he's giving enough attention, and sun definitely it will be grow. All right. So till it bore an apple bright. So it has come up with a hasil. It has produced. Okay, and my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. Okay, in stanza 2, he was already planning that he wants to deceive. Deceive means dia nak menipu. He wants to put a trap for the enemy. And what he is doing in paragraph stanza 3 is working on it. All right, he already planned. Now he's working. Working. He already got the hasil, which is the produce is the apple bright. Right. Why are they using the tree? It just symbolizes as his anger. The apple is showing his anger has grown, shining and very red and all that. All right. So he tricked the enemy by using the bright and shiny apple, which looked very delicious. Okay. However, the enemy was not aware. He aware that it doesn't belong to him, but he wasn't aware that it contains poison. Okay. The last stanza says that, and into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. In the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. Okay, so probably he has put a poison even before the enemy has entered the garden. Okay, he entered the garden in the night. Okay, when everyone is asleep, it's very dark because it's mentioned when the night had veiled the pole, right? In the morning glad I see. He was very happy. He was not. He didn't even regret at all because he was happy because everything happened to what he has planned. Right? The foe, the enemy outstretched. Matilah, mati bawah pokok tu. Okay. Okay. What is the theme for this poem? If they ask you what is the theme, what will be the theme for this poem? Friendship. Friendship between whom? Okay, if you say it's a friendship, I don't think so. But if you say it's a revenge, yes. All right. Revenge is very obvious in the poem, throughout the poem. All right. You can use the word enemy, right? Enemy is not suitable, but revenge, yes. It's what is the theme, the thema? Okay, what can you learn from here? It's about the revenge between the persona towards his enemy, right? So the revenge is the important thing there. Communication, yes. Importance of effective communication. Very good, Tang One. Communication. Um, when the persona disclose his anger with my other friend, the right end. But with the foe, he did not talk, so the anger grew. So that is how to say, it was a very bad communication between the enemy and the persona. If he had talked to him earlier, I think he could not, he don't have to go to that far extent where he has to kill the enemy. Correct. All right, so anger will be your first thing. Anger is a common emotion, right? But you have to deal it correctly. If you keep pouring your ego, um, you are not give and take, there's no tolerance. Okay, what will happen? End up killing someone. All right. Okay, so anger will be your first thing. Second, it can also about the communication. A very good communication is important. Next, about your revenge. All right. And then you can also talk about deceit and lies, because the persona tricked the enemy into his garden. All right. Okay, let's look at the question. Can you see? All right, let's look at number 1. Why is the persona able to forget his anger toward his friend? Why? Yes, Jerry, because he able to tell his friend how he feel. Okay, like us, when we have a problem, we talk and then we tell, hey, you shouldn't do this to me. Okay, then your friend understand. Oh, maybe I did it wrongly. So the right ended. All right. So he able to share his problem. He told his problem. Okay, which reduced the anger. All right. Number 2, how does the persona feel toward his foe? What does he feel? Very, very simple. Exactly, anger. He feels angry towards the enemy. Okay, one is also very good. All right, he is angry with his foe. Number three, what has the feeling of anger done to the persona? What happened to the persona due to the anger in his body or in his mind? It made him to become malicious. What is malicious? What do you mean by malicious? Malicious has a lot of meaning. Malicious can be a threat, all right? It can be a threat also. He's actually not jealous of the enemy. You can't say that he's macam dengki is jealous, right? Okay, he's actually not jealous, but he doesn't like it, right? There were no proper reason given why were the persona had a problem, what type of problem, but he doesn't like him, all right? So he become a hate. He has grow hatred, or he has become. It made the persona bitter or revengeful. All right. The word revengeful will be the best word. What has the feeling of anger done to the persona? Persona has become bitter and revengeful. Right? Malicious if you say he's a threat kan, dia telah menjadi ancaman untuk the enemy, right? Okay, what does the tree symbolize? What does the tree symbolize? Exactly, the rat, all right? The rat or the anger, okay? It symbolizes the persona's anger, will be the excellent answer. How does the persona act towards his enemy? How did he react with his enemy? Uh, okay, then saying nicely, maybe you can tell that friendly, all right? You can also tell that he pretends to be friendly by giving fake smile. Remember, he will give a deceitful smile, and while that is the how he act toward his enemy. All right, so he pretends to be friendly by giving fake smile, right? Number six, why does the enemy sneak into the garden at night? Exactly, to steal the fruit from the tree. Very good. Okay, why is the enemy outstretched beneath the tree? What happened to him at that night? He ate the poisonous apple. Alright, the apple is poisonous, yes, but he ate it. Alright, so you can tell that he has eaten the poison apple. Alright, number eight. Why? How does the persona feel when he sees his enemy dead? Was he sad? No, he was pleased. He was glad. He was happy. All right, exactly. He was happy to see the enemy die. All right. What does the personal reaction tell you about his character? Proud, not exactly Cha. He was glad. He was more into very happy person. What reaction tell you about his character? Yes, you can tell that the persona is revengeful. The persona is unforgiving. He doesn't forgive. If he has forgive the enemy, like how he has forgive the friend, he could not have been a killer. All right. You can also say the persona is cruel, sangat kejam, right? I mean, for little things they want to kill people, then I think everyone will die in this world. Like nobody will survive. Okay, number 10. What is the tone of the poem? Okay, how about this poem? What is the tone? Yes, anger or angry, right? The tone is angry or anger can. Okay, how about two moral values? Name two moral values conveyed in the poem. We must. What is the moral value? Yes, we must be forgetful, forgiving. Forgetful is pelupa cia, but good try, right? We must be forgiving, right? We must have self-control, can. We must communicate to solve conflict, very good. We must deal with our anger, that is also can. Yeah, conclusion answer yes, forgiving. Okay, forgive our enemy. But conclusion, you have to add we must, right? We must forgive our enemy. All right, we must learn to forgive people. Okay, that's very simple. We must learn to forgive people who have wronged us. Even though we know that we are right, people are wrong. It's not a big deal to forgive others. Okay. Okay. Do you have any other question regarding what has happened to Lulu or Poison Tree, or any question that maybe you had a school test which you could not answer? Is there anything that you want to ask me or you want to share with your friends? Okay. Then we will move on to our Mr. Kilmer. Which essay, Chia? Your paper that you sent to me, is it? Okay, I cannot view now because we are having class. I'll do it later and maybe I'll share it with you next week. Is it okay? All right. Okay. As I told you before I start the lesson, all right, I've uploaded all the lesson in your Google Classroom. Please check. I think about 70 plus student has enrolled in the Google Classroom. If you haven't, please do it. You can download. You can check all the notes there. Everything is in there with your sample essay, your literature and all that. And for the literature from different state, all right, 70 yeah, 70, it was 70 plus 72 I think. Okay, that doesn't matter. For your novel, okay, for different zone, I'm trying my best. I'm compiling the notes. Okay, first thing for novel to teach, I have to be fully aware what is happening. I cannot be simply giving textual evidence, right? So I'm already start reading the novel and I'm compiling the chapter by chapter. Once I've done everything, I'll post on your Google Classroom. Maybe in 2 weeks time. That's why earlier I mentioned that I'll do it before what is said before your trial. Okay, so you have, apart from what you learn in school, you still have some help guideline guidance here. Okay, but now I'll be only focusing on Mr. Kilmer and also the past year questions. All right, but I'll be posting for you as well for the other novel, other zone. I'll be doing it as well on your Google Classroom. I think maybe like another 2 weeks time, I'll finish it and then I'll compile and inform you in the class. Okay. Okay, let's look at chapter 7. It's last week we have done with chapter 5 and chapter 6. All right. Uh, what happened in chapter 6? Can anyone tell me briefly? Do you all still remember what happened in chapter 6? Anyone can recall that? Chapter 6, it's about the patriotic program. Remember that Mrs. Hanson announced in the school that those who win the essay competition would take up the role, and Hannah and Richard got the role. All right. Okay. So yeah, it's about the Lady Liberty. So during the lunch, the other classmates were discussing that even if Hannah won the competition, she should not be the Lady Liberty because she's not belong to us. All right. Okay, in chapter 7, Richard realized that the other students wanted to clap for Hannah. Okay, this is a continuation of Hannah reading her essay. Her essay is about peace, all right? About war, about being peace and all that. But still, they were not happy because it was written by Hannah. Just because it was Hannah, everything is wrong, right? So Richard realized that the other students wanted to clap, but they were too afraid. Afraid of whom? Whom do you think they are afraid? Class, whom do you think they are afraid? Yes, they are not only Abner, they are afraid of the other influential kids. For example, like Peggy, Blanky, yeah, the popular girls and the very famous boys like Harry Cover and all that. And then the next day, many students and parents were angry. So basically, the story of Hannah got the role has gone to the whole Turtle Lake, okay? Because it's a patriotic program, it is done in a quite big way because they wanted to sell the Liberty Bond, right? So Mrs. Hanson announced Hannah had declined the role of Lady Liberty. When Richard asked Hannah why, she said that she realized that the class were unhappy with her decision. Richard protested. Richard said because she had won fairly. The rule was only one. Okay, who write the best essay, they will get the role. And even after she writes the best essay, they still cannot accept her. All right. So Richard wasn't happy, and what happened? Richard also decided to quit his role. All right. Hannah was upset that her essay about peace had made people angry. Although Richard respected Hannah's decision, he too decided to quit his role. Okay, so here you can learn that Richard is a loyal friend to Hannah, right? So Richard characteristic you can add, despite of being brave, despite of being a nature lover, a hardworking boy, right? He's also very loyal. Not boyfriend girlfriend. Boyfriend girlfriend also not too loyal. All right, he is actually a loyal friend because he believes that Hannah doesn't have any other friend apart from him, and something injustice is going on there. Tidak adil, right? So he said, okay, I don't want to be a part of it, right? After that, Mrs. Hanson accepted their decision but agreed that the program should go on. She will pass on Richard's letter exchange idea to the principal. Mrs. Hanson then announced the new Lady Liberty would be Millie Wright and the new Duff boy will be Herbie. Alright, so there's two new character. And then Gus looked disgusted because others now think Richard was a traitor. So Gus was totally disgusted with Richard, right? He doesn't like decision of Richard. That evening, Mr. and Mrs. Shermer met Richard at their home. So he went to Hannah's house. They had a gathering. Richard noticed pictures of Hannah's family member back in Germany, and he remembered that her brother Otto was fighting in the war. Over a delicious meal, the Shermers shared their love for culture and their travel adventure with Richard. So they were basically very friendly with Richard. So they share a lot of things about travel, about their adventure back in Germany. Everything is in the novel. All right. And then Mr. Shermer even plays some music from the famous composer. Those days, it's quite famous Beethoven, using a gramophone. It's an old-fashioned record player. Tahu tak yang piring warna hitam, the black color thing that they use. So they were using that before the radio and all that. Richard enjoyed himself very much, and he was sad to go. Okay, why he was sad to leave Hannah's house? Because he find comfort and he find happy to be in her house. All right, because he get all the attention and love by the parents, Hannah's parents. Okay, where even at home he doesn't get his own time, quality family time with his parents. Okay, when he got home, Richard found Pa was sitting on the porch waiting for him. Okay, now, why Pa was waiting for him in the porch? Why do you think? Anyone? No? Probably that he already heard the news that Richard has declined the role. Alright? Yeah, he wanted to maybe talk about declining the role because the role is quite, it's like in Malaysia, if let's say you are representing the state and then you are becoming the Tunku Abdul Rahman, okay, for example, and then suddenly you decline because your friend was not accepted by others and then you wanted to support her, what would be your parents' reaction? They would be angry also, right? They would be, kenapa nak ikut kawan, and all sort of things. So that's the same questions that came into past mind, right? Okay, let's look into the question. All right, look at number one. You read and then you give me the answer. Okay, what will be your answer? Number one. Yes, the answer for number one is B. Okay, they did not expect her to win. It's supposed to be B. Okay, it's not that they did not like her essay. Her essay is about peace, alright. It was good, and Mrs. Henson likes it very much. But they did not expect her to win. They thought that somebody else could win the competition. Okay, number two. Why did few students sit at their desk with their arms crossed? This is in the novel, alright. Number two, yes, to show everyone else their displeasure. They doesn't like it, so they wanted to cross their arms. All right. Okay. Number three. Which of the following statement is not true? Number three. What is your answer? Yes. Number three is A. Okay. Number three is A. Number four. Number four. What influenced Hannah's decision? Exactly. B. Her classmates respond. She saw the classmates. Certainly they wasn't happy with her becoming the Lady Liberty, so she doesn't want to proceed. Right? Okay. Number five. Yes. Number five also it's B. Okay. After talking to Hannah about her decision, he will actually ask Hannah what happened. Why did you decline? And then he will respect her decision, and then he will also make up his mind to drop the rule. All right, number six. Number six is following is true. It's C. Peggy Manson was their favorite to become Lady Liberty. All right. The other students thought Millie and Herbie deserve no. Actually, they don't even like Millie and Herbie. That's even written in the novel. All right. They wanted the Peggy Manson because she was the very famous girl in the school. Okay. Number seven. Number seven. Number seven is actually A. If I'm not mistaken. They welcome him warmly. Yes, it's A. Alright. Okay, number eight. How do you know that Richard enjoyed himself at Shermer's home? Exactly, it's C. He did not realize the time flew so quickly because he was sad when he was leaving. Alright. Number nine. The last one. Number nine. How did Richard know that there was someone on the porch? Yes, it's B actually. Alright. He could hear the creaking of the porch swing. Alright, very good. Good try. Okay, now. Okay, we do it very quickly, right? Okay, he knew that the trouble was brewing. Okay, the brewing means it's brewing, and whether he wanted to know or not, he was going to end up in the middle of it. When he got to school the next morning, Richard discovered that his worst fear had materialized, become true, right? What has happened in the school in the previous day? What happened in the school previous day? This is about Hannah won the essay competition. Okay, so number one, what happened in the school the previous day is Hannah won the essay competition and was offered the role of Lady Liberty. I'll go with you very quickly, right? Because this is basically from the novel. Okay, number two, Richard discovered that his worst fear had materialized. In your opinion, what was Richard afraid of? Richard was afraid that his friends, the students will not accept Hannah as Lady Liberty, and also they had gone home, told their parents about it. Okay, that's what happened in the next day. The parents will come and will be very angry in the school. All right. Okay, number three. Is it so hard to figure out? Hannah replied with a sigh. You saw how everybody reacted, but you won the contest fair and square. Richard pointed out. Gosh, Hannah, nobody in English class can write half as well as you. Don't you want to fight for what you have earned? So Richard is actually asking Hannah to protest, right? Fight for it. Okay. So you saw everybody reacted. What was Hannah referring to? Hannah is referring to the classmate. Okay. Why didn't Hannah fight for what she has earned? Okay. Now you answer me. Why didn't Hannah fight for what she had earned? According to Richard, none of them as clever as Hannah in English, right? And even though she knows about that, why she didn't fight for it? Why didn't Hannah fight? Yes, she wanted to avoid the conflict. Okay, but it is not very accurate. Okay, actually, the Mr. Sharma will teach Hannah not to fight. All right, he will actually advise Hannah. Fighting doesn't give any solution. They had enough of fighting. All right. He also mentioned about the war, so he doesn't want them to fight. You know. Okay, number five. Richard went dejectedly on to his next class. Why did some choices have to be so hard? He wondered. Why did sometimes seems impossible to do the right thing without making somebody unhappy? Why did Richard go dejectedly on to his class? Because his brother Gus spoke to him and told him what the other students were saying about him being unpatriotic. Gus was very angry with Richard because he has declined. So he was actually thinking about that when he entering the next class. Alright. Why did some choices have to become hard? Okay, actually, number six, there is a question in your SPM. They asked what was the toughest decision taken by the main character. So this is also one of the toughest decision. All right. Um, Richard was deferring to doing the right thing, such as signing the card and declining the role of duckboy. He thought signing the card and also declining when it is not, the competition is not fair, is right thing to do. Okay. So class, do you have any question? No question? Okay. Let's move on to chapter 8. We have another two more chapter and we are done, right? But I'm going to stop today with chapter 8. So next week, another two more chapter. All right. In chapter 8, as the war raged on, okay, meaning it's growing, okay, it doesn't stop. Richard told Pa, okay, here the Pa has, somebody is waiting at the porch, right? So he found that Pa has waited for him at the porch. Richard told Pa why he had declined to be the duck boy. He has explained to Pa. He said that it wasn't fair for Hannah to decline the role, and then what has happened? Pa confronted Richard about Iki Lewi's allegation. Let me zoom a bit. Okay, Iki Lewi's. Okay, Iki is Abner's father. Against him, Iki was Abner's father. Iki told Pa that Richard was unpatriotic and supported the enemy. Okay, so Abner basically has gone back home and informed the parents, and the parents were really angry with Richard declining the role for Hannah. Right, so he called Richard as unpatriotic. Pa sympathized with the Sherma, dia kesian, okay, but he cannot do anything since they had only been around for a short time compared to other members of the community who have been there for many generations. Furthermore, Iki Lewis has helped their family before. So he had to obey Lewis because he believed that the original people from the Turtle Lake is even more important than the temporary people. Alright? Pa said that Richard should not have behaved as though he was better than others. He blamed that the poetry that Richard was reading for being a bad influence on him. So now he blamed the poem because Richard starting writing poetry. He became very uh, digging. All right, he's not listening to the parents. As time passed, more students were mean to Richard, but he became close friends with Hannah, right? He doesn't bother even though the whole world against him because he knows that they are not doing right things, okay? And what he's doing is actually right. So he became more close with Hannah. He continued writing to George Kilmer as well. Richard decided to cheer Mr. Kilmer up as he could not be with his family for Christmas. So what he did, with the help of Mr. Shermer's family, they posted him some cookies and a scarf, right? In spring, Mr. Higby had a bad news. Mr. Higby is the history teacher in the school. So he said a bad news saying that the war in Europe is prolonged, all right? It is still going, okay? It will not stop for now. Mr. Kilmer likened the trenches where they fought to Cochrane, and in another letter he spoke about the war in spring. He had been promoted to the rank of sergeant. In the letter he will actually talk about a lot of people died, many children, kids, and women. Uh, their dead bodies everywhere in the places, right? And he is a bit sad about it, but he can't do much because they went there to for the war. All right. And due to the hard work, he also been promoted to the rank of sergeant, right? News came that American troops had made the German troops retreat in France. Means the American has kalahkan the German. Everyone was very happy. At the school picnic, Hannah told Richard about the multicultural environment of New York. They both dream of going there together. So these people actually like having more deep friendship, deep conversation because none of them is interfering in their life, right? They start dreaming like they're going for places and all that. And then once when they leaving, they want to leave back home. Hannah hurt her ankle when she was hit by a stone with the word "Han" written on it. So it was purposely written and put it there so that she will look at it and she feels sad. Right. So this is chapter 8. Chapter 8 doesn't have much important incident except Pa confronted Richard. Okay. Do you have any question in chapter 8 before we move on into the question? Okay, now let's look at the conversation. This is a statement, right? And who do you think the statement has? Who gave the statement? This made a great turning point in favor of the allies. Any guess? Those who have their novel, have read the novel, I think you should know because these are the dialogues or the statements taken directly from the novel. Do you have any idea? All right, never mind. Number one is actually, yes, yeah, you might not know because you are not learning. Number one is said by Mr. Higby, right, the history teacher. Okay, number two, I wish we were both older so we could jump on a train and go straight to New York. Who said this? Exactly, it was said by Richard, right? Richard wanted to bring Hannah. Okay, number three, sometimes I think all the poetry you read and write is filling your head with foolish ideas. Who said number three? Yes, it was from Pa. Number four, number four, who is number four? Which character mentioned this? It's Hannah. Alright? It seems like the whole world has gathered right there on the street was mentioned by Hannah. Okay, number five. That's the way things in a town like this, you watch out for your own. Who is that? Yes, it's Pa, right? And the last one. I guess right now you must think that your mother is right about people. Who is it? It's said by Richard. Alright, said by Richard to Hannah. Okay, I think this question you will work on it later on your own. I'll post on your Google Classroom. Alright. Okay, let's look at the setting. I don't want to waste much time on the question. I think you can do it yourself later. Okay. I have a setting here. Setting here is by the month. You can see the chronology of the story. Okay, setting is divided into three. Okay, the first one, time setting, physical setting, and cultural setting. The one that I have given here, the important setting is the time setting, which you have to memorize exactly, right? If they have asked you about the setting, you have to mention everything exactly. It's the story was set during the World War One. Okay, it begin in February 1917 and ends in November 1918 in a time span of about a year and a half. So from here, February, remember the first character started where they went for hunting, right? And then the school began. Okay, then the May, the tavern was vandalized. On June, it was last day, and he received a letter, and he read out a letter. July, they continue to write. There's no much incident there. August, they continue to write again. September was the school reopened. They had a patriotic program. Okay, now we are here. Okay, and then 1918 will happen. They will receive a gloomy letter from Mr. Kilmer, right? Uh, yeah, we just did in chapter 8, right? They wanted to send a scarf and cheer him. Okay, and then March, April, May, you can see in July and November, in another two more chapters, we will be going from March to November, and all this incident will happen. All right. In the end, then Mr. Kilmer will be killed, and Richard will write a poem. Okay. And in November, the war ends, and Richard and his father become closer. All right. Richard will become a famous writer as well. Okay. This is the place is Iowa, America. You can see the story was taken in the farm, which is in Richard's house, the farm, Richard's home, school, Hannah's home, Sherman's house, the tavern, the war trenches in Europe, right? And then the time was given just now, the World War One. But here the story is exactly about 1917, right? Not 1914. Social, lower middle class, and also upper middle class, right? Shermans are considered the very rich people. Okay, now this is something very important. When they ask you the question, can you number the event, or you have to tell the plot or tell what has happened, the question, okay, you have to explain these five, right? Exposition, rising action, um, climax, falling action, and resolution. Even in BM novel, I think the plot is still the same, right? So the first, the exposition. Where did you find the introduction of the character? Richard, the younger son, loves poetry about his character, right? And then the rising action. America has declared the war against German. Sherman's family was getting harassed. Hannah in the school was bullied by the people. And then the introduction of a famous poet, Joyce Kilmer. In the climax, Joyce Kilmer dies in the battle. Climax means something, a kemuncak happened, alright? The big problem. Richard write poem and send it to the local paper. Then following action, he published the local news. What will happen is Shermers will help Richard to publish his poem in the local newspaper, and then Richard relationship between the father will improve. All right, and the resolution become the war ends and they have a better family relationship later. So this will be the plot. But if you Google, you can find variety of plot, right? So you can read either one that you like, right? But I'll upload this on your Google Classroom document later. Last on your literature. Okay, this is fashion SPB trial, Sekolah Berasrama Penuh, if not mistaken. So this is 2016 question. Which character in the novel do you sympathize with? Kamu rasa kesian, right? Who do you feel sad or sympathize? Hannah. Okay, explain why you sympathize with this character with close reference to the text. Why would you feel pity? Sympathize is pity. Why? You have to give three reasons. Can you list on your few reasons? Maybe you can share with your friends. If your friends have mentioned, you don't mention the same evidence. You okay? For your English poem, sorry poem pula. Apa ni novel? You have to give the character you sympathize with, and also three evidence shown why. Pity because they racist her. In which chapter exactly what happened? All right. So you have to mention that. So first reason why. Those who are, I think Chia is not even learning Mr. Kilmer, but he can understand, right? Okay, pity her because they bullied her and they become very prejudiced towards her. Right? She received unfair treatment from others. Yes, but from where? Which exactly? First evidence is they scribble a dirty hand on her cover book. Right? She'll be crying in front of the after the school end. Remember, that is the first. Second, they did not want to sign the sympathy card, and then her table was vandalized. That is also we have to sympathize. Yes, exactly. She is forced to decline the role. She was not forced, but she declined on herself because she realized people were not happy. What is the reason if I'm acting on a stage when people are not happy? All right, so she declined the role. Yes, the table has been vandalized. Very good. So all the points here, when you explain, it should come up until like 3 or 4 paragraph. It is good enough for your points. Okay, let us look at the sample given. I mean, this what I have done. All right. Okay, the novel that I read was Dear Mr. Kilmer. The character I sympathized was Hannah Shermer. I have bolded it with red. There were three reasons why I sympathized with her. Look at the introduction. Very easy, simple introduction. Sorry, once you have done with the introduction, you skip. All right. I'm marking the trials. All right, marking trials paper for many years, also SPM. I realized that it's easy for the examiner when you have separate the paragraph by paragraph. If you have done it in one long paragraph, it looks very like very occupied with notes. Where it's very difficult to find where's the points. Okay. Firstly, her schoolmates call her Dirty Hand. See, remember what I mentioned? You have to come from the first chapter until the end. So the first, they call her Dirty Hand. They also scribble Dirty Hand all over her book cover. All right. So this is the explanation for it. You can read it later. Okay, second point, her parents' tavern was vandalized. All right. Not only that, later, when the Mrs. Henson asked her class to sign a sympathy card, they refused. All right. They also warned the others not to sign. Okay. And only Richard signed the sympathy card for Hannah Shermer. So second is because her tavern was vandalized. Third, unfairly denied her role as Lady Liberty. Dia bukan dipaksa, tetapi she got no heart to act anymore because people doesn't like it. Right? Even though Hannah won the role of Lady Liberty because she wrote the best essay, but many students were angry, and even some parents complained to the principal and demanded Mrs. Hanson to choose somebody else. Right? But Mrs. Hanson did not change her mind until Hannah itself declined her role. She accepted her decision, right? Because she cannot force a person. Okay, so that was the three reasons. In conclusion, although Hannah Sherman and her family has mistreated by some Turtle Lake, they remain calm and patient. There were no one incident show that they fight back, right? So it shows that how good, well educated they are. Okay, can you understand how the essay should be? I mean, how the answer should be? Okay, very good. So you have to provide one character which you sympathize and also three reasons. So you get 15 marks for it. All right. Now let's look at your paper one. I have another question on paper one. Usually we'll be doing literature and essay. So this week we do your question. Okay, you read, and then you give me the answer. Write down there number one and what is your answer? Yes, it is possible to get full marks, or you can even get 14. 14 is usually the highest. 15 is without any grammatical mistake. All right, but it is possible. All right, nothing is impossible. All right, come on, read and answer question number one. Number one, what is your answer, class? Yes, number one is B, right? Even though they are talking about the person, all right, about his character and what happened, but the main point here is he's a Paralympic athlete. Paralympic ialah orang kurang upaya, all right? Okay, number two. Can you read? Is it okay or you want me to zoom more? Okay, number two. What will be your answer? What is your answer, class number two? Very good, Hasik. It's A. Okay, why? Because when you conclude, they say that the passage says that the organic food production involves plants and animals. It's about farming and also agriculture. All right. Okay. Number three. What is answer, class? Very good, Shah. It's D and G. Yes, it's actually D. Why? They said eating in a small restaurant. Okay, they are talking about small restaurant means you don't have a dress code. Unpretentious dress code meaning you don't have to feel very worried about something. Okay, if let's say you go to KLCC, you want to eat buffet or you want to eat the dinner, you have to wear suit or you have to come up with a good looking dress. But whereas when you go to smaller restaurant, you feel more relaxed, right? You are not stressed. Okay, look at number 4. 4 and 5 is related. Okay, the question, years of conflict and humanitarian crisis have thrown up obstacles to tackling the issue. The writer uses the sentence to show what? Okay, okay, I think it is A, yes. The seriousness of HIV. Okay, why? Because they have saying that a lot of people, okay, a lot of people is struggling. Okay, it's not the consequences. You can't see the consequences. It's A. Okay, how about number 5? The phrase stepping up shows that the Sudan is B. Very good. Number 5 is B. Haziq and Punis, yes, it's B. Very good. All right. Number 6. Let's look at the um, bubble dialogue here. Hi Sally, I saw your Facebook post about your business success. Congratulations. It was the result of 10 years hard work. How did you do it? What's your secret? Online business is the way to go. I made a lot of money by selling online. But remember, it takes courage and you need to do your homework. Okay. When Sally say you need to do your homework, she means, what does she mean? Exactly. You must do research, right? Homework. It's not you get good grades at school. Wrong. So it's not about school. All right. So teacher and school is wrong. So A. Okay. Number 7. Have you ever considered cycling around the world? Ooh. One individual woke up one day and realized that sitting for 8 hours in front of a computer every day just a monotonous routine. The question, the word monotonous can be replaced with, look at the word again. It wasn't fulfilling, it wasn't exciting, just monotonous. So monotonous is the same meaning with not fulfilling, not exciting. So what will be the answer? Your answer is actually there. You just have to be smart enough. Exactly. The answer is A, right? It's dull, right? It's not exciting. Okay, the last one. Sure, is your answer C for 8, number 8 or number 7? Okay, let others answers also, right? Let them read first. And you too, read properly again. What is your answer, class? Which following is true? Yes, it is wrong, Shah. Exactly. D is correct. Right? Yes, D. The water in Baffin Bay is warmer than the scientists thought it was. Because it's the last paragraph say that warmer than was calculated. Okay? Alright. Now let's move on to this. Alright. One day an elderly lady came by our restaurant. Normally we close on early on Monday, but I was there to do some painting and plumbing. The lady greeted me and began to talk about the days when she herself exactly owned. It's a past tense, right? Owned uh, a restaurant. She seemed quite glad for some. What is number 3? She seemed quite glad for some company. It's B. Company means like having somebody there with you. All right. So I decided to let her speak. She went. Number 3 is B. Number 4. Yes, number 4 is A. Number 5. Yes. Chia, Pune, Scorpion, yes. Number 5 is D. Very good. How about number 6? Exactly. B. And the last one, offered. Because it's a past tense, right? Okay, very good. Anyone managed to get 7 over 7? Good try, Chia. Anybody else managed to get 7/7? Even though maybe you didn't share your answer here, maybe you had it. Very good. Okay, now let's look at your rational close. Okay, can you able to see? Okay. Now it's about cell phones in restaurants. All right. One question for you all. Do you use a cell phone in a restaurant? A survey was carried out in a dozen countries to find out the attitude of people towards the cell phone used in restaurants. The result shows that varied attitudes vary from country to country. Varied means different, right? Those in Western country were generally against cell phone being in the restaurant at all. Mainland Chinese were not opposed to the idea using cell phone when dining out, while Singaporean, Malaysian, and Thai felt that it was necessary to have a cell phone handy during mealtime. So here it says that what does they say? Cell cell phone eat first. You eat cell phone. They say that in Europe country, in the Western country, they are not agree with using cell phone. Um, Chinese, they don't oppose. Chinese mainland means China, they don't oppose. But Malaysia, the Asian country like Singapore, Malaysia, and Thai, they feel like it's a must to have handphone, right? Okay, Malaysian and Singaporeans were worried that they would miss important call. They also saw nothing wrong with texting and talking on the phone during dinner. Japan, Korea, China has no problem with it. You can have your handphone or you cannot have your handphone, shouldn't be a problem. Most men and women in Thailand feel that cell phones are essential. Essential means important when dining for snapping a photo of their food or taking selfies. I think even in Malaysia they should put a slash Malaysia. Okay, European from Austria, Switzerland, Germany, and the Netherlands were horrified by the idea of using cell phone in a restaurant. Horrified means they are afraid, right? They are not agree. However, the recent migrant to the countries didn't share that sentiment. So meaning the migrant could be the from the Asian lah, the Malaysia, Thailand, or people from China or Singapore. All right, so they still using it. Australian and New Zealanders stated that it depended on the type of restaurant. They said it was okay to use phone in bistros and pubs, while it was a no-no in fine dining restaurant. Meaning, if fine dining, you go to a class restaurant, you shouldn't use. While if you go to a pub, you want to record them dancing or singing song, having a karaoke or something, it should be okay. All right. Okay, you understand the whole concept of the cell phone in restaurant? Okay, let us move into the question. Okay, what is the topic of the survey? What do you think the topic of the survey will be? Maybe you can say that cell phone in restaurant, yes, but you can say that attitude towards cell phone in restaurant because different country has different attitude. Some they accept, some they don't accept, right? Some they don't bother, right? So attitude in using cell phones, attitude towards cell phone in restaurant. Okay. Number two, number of countries in the survey. How many countries? Count quickly. From June, count properly. Chia, you also count properly. Yes, it's 12. All right. So you please write down 12. Okay, 12 countries. Okay, convenience. Three countries where cell phone use in restaurant is regarded as convenient. Which country was that? Yes, no, number two is 12, Jerry. Okay, now number three, which country? Number four, number five. Malaysia, yes. M must be capitalized. Okay, number four. You all want to look at the text? Here. It's here. Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. Why, Chia? What you Wuhan? They are only okay with the COVID. Alright, convenience is actually Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. Alright, Punis, you must check your spelling. Maybe you were rushing, alright? I understand, but please check the spelling, okay? China was not he doesn't say that he was convenient or he was not convenient. He was just like a okay country. All right. Okay. People in Thailand use their phone for what? What was it? What mentioned there? Yes, taking selfies, and taking selfies will come at number 7 because taking selfies when dining. Number 6, take photos of food. All right, take photos of their food and take selfies when dining. All right. Okay, number 8. What will be number 8? 8 and 9 feel that cell phone use is acceptable in some restaurants but not others. Here, Australia and New Zealand. Okay, so Australia And New Zealand, Australians and New Zealanders feel that cell phone use is acceptable in some restaurants. Yeah, you cannot mention the country, right? It's the people, it's the community there. It's mentioned here. Australians, okay, and the New Zealanders. The last one, Europeans are the idea of using the cell phone. Exactly, very good, children. Horrified. Alright? The usage of the word horrified is here. We're horrified by the idea of using. If you want to say that against or oppose, I think it is not better to use, right? Do not use your own idea here because information in the graphic organizer, you exactly copy whatever is here into your question. Okay, so anyone got 10 out of 10? Able to get 10 out of 10? Oppose means uh, like against, right? Say I type in the chat box. Against or oppose, sorry, it's not acceptable. Not more than 10 words. It's not the question was not given here, but if let's say in your SPM they have mentioned your word should not be more than 3 words, then you please keep your word limited, right? But in this question they didn't mention anything such. They didn't mention, but for PT3, yes, you have very limited words. Okay, now let's look at your reading comprehension. Okay, the reading comprehension, it's about Encik Ahmad, if not mistaken. There have been many instances in which Encik Ahmad felt that his students were so busy studying for exam that they were slowly losing their humanity. What is humanity, class? What is humanity? Yes, about people, about not freedom, kemanusiaan. You feel caring toward people, the love that you show to other people is humanity. Alright? He saw their cocoon lives and shuddered to think of the future that lay before them and the future of his beloved country. So he decided that his lesson would have to change. So basically, Encik Ahmad is a teacher and he worried that the kids are only focusing on exam, the lesson, while not focusing on the few about. First, he started a caring program whereby the student help out the old folks home in nearby suburb means suburban, lebih kurang kampung dan juga bandar. Okay, it's in the middle. The kids volunteered feeding, cleaning, entertaining and talking to each citizen of the home. Okay, so this is humanity program. All right, you love towards other people is humanity. So do you know who is in the old folks? He doesn't know them. You are not related, but you are helping them out. That is humanity. They collected foodstuff and raised fund during festive season. So mereka mengumpul duit untuk for the celebration like Raya, Deepawali and Chinese New Year. Their activities were then converted into report and essay that helped them with their English as well as their exam. So what Encik Ahmad did, he did the lesson in interactive way, alright? He did like a field trip. He bring them out and using all the experience, he asked them to write an essay. Okay. Besides this, Encik Ahmad asked the kids to sort their garbage, reuse things in their home and to reduce waste. Now about recycling and actively recycle papers, metal and plastic. There were bins in the class for this item. Again, the activities were recorded in the school book. Marks were awarded for the best team. And the money from the sale from the recycled item was used to buy pizza and birthday cake. They even started to compose a heap with dry leaves and grass from the school ground and won the school Green Week prize. So meaning second activity was something to do with the persekitaran. First is people, second is the environment. Number three, despite all this, he felt there was still something missing. They still needed the X factor, the factor that built humanitarian value without having to be encouraged, a natural response to helping other human in need, the absence of cruelty and the greed that drives most people this day. Can you understand this? They said that when he asked them to do with while giving marks or while giving reward like buying pizza cake, they do it. Can they do without that? All right, so he wants to test them now. He wanted to instill the kind of goodness that existed in the old days when life was not always about being one up on others. So he racked his brain and hit upon an idea. He could take them on a road trip to Thailand and let them see the world out there firsthand. They planned to hit the road during year-end holidays. Then they would have enough time to explore the country and its many facets of life. So now he has come to another activity where he wants to bring them for a field trip. Okay, bawa jalan-jalan sambil mengenal dunia. They said about having bake sale and car washes to raise money. They also wrote to business and foundation to finance their trip. It was long hard work and finally paid off. The school PIG raised 5,000 ringgit for a carnival held for them. They managed to collect a grand sum of 14,000 ringgit. They took the train from Penang headed north Hat Yai, a border town popular among Malaysian tourists. Then they saw firsthand the disparity between the rich and poor. Disparity, the difference between the rich and the poor. Many people there were forced to work in factories. Low salaries and low working hours were the norm, meaning the normal. Okay, what happening in the country right now? Many children begged in the street, and they were vendors, old and young, fighting for attention of the tourists. Have you been to Thailand or Indonesia? You can see beggars everywhere, and they will come and force you actually to get the money, right? So this is what you want to show to the kids in Malaysia because we are very privileged here. Streets were narrow, very sempit, and every inch was covered with commerce of one kind or another. From Hat Yai, they moved from the rural area in the plain, and they were saw farming communities were lacking in infrastructure and education. Okay, they moved to rural. Rural is lagi kampung, pendalaman, right? And then they saw people are not having a good infrastructure, meaning there's no proper housing and there's no proper schooling for the kids. Many of the villagers could not afford basic education as they had to leave school to work to the field or migrate to town to support their family. Many lived in basic wooden homes with little or no luxury. Orphanages were full, and seeing them was especially heart-wrenching for the students from Malaysia. So Malaysia students, they feel very grateful, and then they feel very sad to see the kids in the Thailand because they start working in a very young age. The deplorable factories where people work touch the students profoundly, right? Very hardworking factories. The next 2 weeks were spent in Red Cross Center. They were short stay at the beach for the students before they returned home. During that period, Encik Ahmad carefully encouraged his ward to reflect upon the human experience and the luxury that enjoy in peaceful Malaysia. So this is the theme of why he brought them to Thailand. They want to show how peaceful in Malaysia, how grateful we are, privileged. He also discussed the kindness and caring nature of Thais despite the adversity and hardship they face. Many among his students vow not to take things for granted and strive for a better society in future. Okay, do you have any words that you don't understand? I mean like you don't understand the whole paragraph. It's about how they have entered the um, Thailand just to see what's happening there. How about the children? How about the life that they are going through? All right. Okay, you look at the question. Commerce is perniagaan. Perdagangan. Commerce is perdagangan. Uh, Somebody asked about my Google Classroom. Engkai Earn, Google Classroom, I think you have to ask the secretariat. It's not under me. Alright? I think the secretariat will inform you about the Google Classroom. Oh, you want my Gmail because you cannot message there. Okay, I'll ask the secretariat and then pass it to you. Okay? Alright. Okay, now let's look at the question. Sorry, I was talking to your friend. He was asking me something. Okay, from paragraph 1, what troubled Encik Ahmad? Let's look at paragraph 1. What has trouble? What has made Encik Ahmad felt trouble? He felt that his students were so busy studying for exam that they were slowly losing their humanity. Yes, they lost their humanity. All right. So that felt that caused trouble in Encik Ahmad's mind. Okay. So probably Encik Ahmad is a very kind and very thoughtful teacher. Paragraph 2. What were two activities that the kids carried out? What was the two characteristics in paragraph 2? Yes, they clean, they entertain, right? You can also tell that they collected food stuff and raised funds. That is one. The kids volunteer feeding, cleaning, entertaining, and talking is one. All right. Plus, you have to bear in mind it's divided into two, meaning the kids volunteered feeding, cleaning, entertaining, and talking is one activity. They collected foodstuff and raised fund is another activity. Okay, you cannot tell feeding one, cleaning one, and all that. You have to mention it, that is until one full stop is one activity. All right. How had this helped them with their studies? How does that help them with their studies? Here, the answer. They wrote report which helped them with their English, correct? They have converted their report which helped them with their English as well as their exam, alright? Okay, let's look at the next question. From paragraph 4, what do you think the missing X factor was? Paragraph 4. What was the missing X factor? It's a two word. What is the missing X factor? Okay, they say the missing X factor, they still need the X factor. So the factor is what? Yes, humanitarian value, right? The humanitarian value. Building is just a verb, kata kerja. So he said that the factor that builds humanitarian value. So, yes, exactly, Kopjun. They asked how had this, missing X factor was. So the missing X factor was humanitarian values, alright? Okay. Which phrase tells the reader Encik Ahmad thought long and hard? Paragraph 4. Paragraph 4 is a phrase. He has thought long and hard. Which one say that he has thought long and hard? Can you guess in paragraph 4? No. He racked his brain. He racked his brain. So they asked what does he mean by Encik Ahmad thought long and hard. Dia pecah kepala. Yes, dia pecah. He cracked his brain. We usually use the word crack our head, right? So he racked his brain. That is the phrase. Very good, Punis. Racked his brain. All right. The next question. From paragraph 5, which sentence tells the reader that the effort to raise money was difficult but successful? Which one was difficult but successful? Sentence, right? Paragraph 5. Let's look at paragraph 5. It was hard but successful. Which sentence? Yes, Chia. It was long, hard work, but it finally paid off. Very good. It was long, hard work, but it is finally paid off. Because they asked for a sentence, ayat. Okay, kamu kena berikan beberapa patah perkataan. Okay, number 4B. State one thing that the students saw that gave them an idea how people live in Hadyai. One thing the students saw that gave them an idea about how people live in Hadyai is paragraph 5. Okay, here. Which shows that people in Hadyai. The question is very simple. When you look at the situation, which one shows you about people in Hadyai? Any answer? Yes, begged. Many children begged. It's about many children begged, or the vendors, the old vendors, or young fighting attention for the tourists. This is the situation of people there. The street is, I think, common. Even in other countries, we have the narrow street and all that. Even in Malaysia, we have it. But we have never seen the situation of children begging in the street, or young or old vendors fighting for attention of the tourists. All right. So that is about the people. They already mentioned that in the question about people. So when you talk about the street narrow, then it's wrong. All right. Can you understand? Okay. Now the last question. In your own words, give two values that Encik Ahmad wanted his student to acquire. Okay. This will be your own word. Okay. What do you think? What are the two values that he wanted to instill? Kind. Yeah, he wants them to be kind towards one another. He wants them to be a good humanity, right? Can. Warm-hearted is not very suitable, but caring can. He wants the students to be caring, right? Not take things for granted, as what they have mentioned in the last, right? Not taking things for granted. Be grateful, okay? Striving to be a better society. So many answers. Okay, helpful can. A warm-hearted, not really, but sharing. What do you mean by sharing? Responsible citizen can. Responsible citizen which help others. For example, like they go and help the old folks home. They work for the poor institution. You have to give explanation. Okay. Okay. The word power later you do. You try yourself. Okay. Let's look at the summary. Okay, summary writing. Encik Ahmad wanted his students to broaden their horizon. Dia nak diorang meluaskan lagi experience, right? Based on the passage, write a summary on how the teacher changed his student and the values he taught them. Your summary must be in continuous writing. The users use material from line 1 to 46. So you're only from line 1 to 46, not longer 130. Okay, and the first 10 words has been given. Encik Hamad saw that his students were losing their humanity. Okay, now let's look at the paragraph 1 to line 46. Actually, 1 to 46 will become until the end, but SPM, I don't think so. They will give a very long lines. They only will focus on few lines, so it's easy for you, right? Um, Now, what will be your points? Just now he said that Encik Ahmad realized that they are losing their humanity. Okay, uh, how the teacher changed his student and the values he taught them? How the teacher changed the student? So where will be your first point taken from? He made them to first he made them to volunteer by helping in old folk home. Yes, line 5. All right, the first will be he changed by asking the students to help at old folks home by volunteering. All right, they clean, then you explain how they clean, they entertain, they talk to the aged citizen. They also collected food stuff and raised fund during the festive season. Okay, then what happened? About the exam, you don't talk, right? Because that is the reward due to what they have done. Next, Encik Ahmad asked the kids to sort their garbage, reuse things, and also reduce waste by doing recycling. Okay. Then, despite doing all this, there are still lack of X factor. So, Encik Ahmad wanted to bring them for a trip. To where? Trip to Thailand. Alright, so they have set a trip to Thailand, exactly. And then what did they see there? Okay, how was in Hat Thai? Okay, now you tell me the point. What happened in Hat Thai? What did they saw? In Hat Thai, they saw many young people were forced to work in factories, having low salaries. All right, that will be one thing. And then you can tell that children beggar. Okay, and then in the rural area, they have lacking in infrastructure and education. Some kids are not even going to school because they have to work in the field. All right, you make it very simple. Use your own sentences to come up with your own idea. Okay, so during the stay, what they have reflected means what they have learned. They have two questions here. First thing, how the teacher changed his student and the values he taught them. Okay, so how he has changed by being the X factor in them. Okay, what did they reflected? Reflected means what they get. Okay, he encouraged his ward to reflect upon the human experiences. All right, and he also discussed the kindness and caring nature. Okay, so they learn about being kind and the caring nature. All right, despite the hardship that they face. All right, can you understand, class? Can you understand? Okay, okay. I have given all the points. You just come up with the summary, right? You can try practice this at home. I think the reading comprehension is about Malaysian, so it's quite simple and the words used here are very easy. Okay, you can try on yourself. Okay, despite all the lessons that we have learned today, do you have any other question before we end the class? Do you have any other question, class? All right. So far you understand. Are you okay with the lesson? Do you have any problem with the class or the slides or any points that which is not clear? You want me to do any correction? Do you have any suggestion, class? Since just now your friend said that you cannot send me message, so this is the only time where we can exchange our ideas. So before end the class, we have still few more minutes. Ada apa-apa cadangan tak? Or you find it very boring, or or anything that you want me to improve? Do you have any idea? It's perfect. All right. Thank you, Lau. All right. So if let's say you don't have any further comment or so I think I have to be very grateful because you all are following my lesson and you're also giving us the points and everything, teacher, you can send us the note first. Which note do you want, Kaian? Oh, meaning the slides before the class starts. Okay. In that case, then I'll try to make it yeah, faster. I mean, because usually I'll make the slides before the class starts or a day before, right? If I can, I will do it. So, okay. So what you can do next week, you can check on the Google Classroom before you enter the class. So if you have the slide, then I try to upload it early. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, class.